you're a physiotherapist as your occupation. It's always interesting. Origin stories always fascinate me. Why,
Okay. Good question. Very good question.
Mr. Hero?
So I've always had an interest in health and anything health related. So even say back in high school, I think that's when I was first inspired, you could say, to look into health. I think it started looking at like diseases and things like that, germs, microbes, or studying that stuff. But just on my just as extracurricular thing, but I always wondered how to solve problems like health related problems. But at the same time, another interest of mine was engineering related things, physics, how things worked, how things moved. Now, but after high school, I was always looking to get into something medical related, but I always had a passion for that engineering, mechanical side of things. So I came across this subject, physio, which I had no idea about. Decided to go for it and see what it's all about. Just read up on it a bit, understood that it's about improving the human body, fixing pain, fixing joints. Still didn't know too much about what it's about. So, but I remember applying for the course in Sydney University, um, and I seem to have the prerequisites for it, or at least the knowledge from my subject. So I went for it, and still don't know what physio was at that time. I got accepted. I went into the course. First semester seemed very intriguing. Anatomy, biomechanics, body systems. Basically, everything was medical, and it had an element of physics, right? So I was like, damn, this subject or this course is very interesting. So I kept at it. I didn't try to get out of it or try something different. Wouldn't say I was passionate about it, but I was intrigued. So I kept going, and because I was intrigued, I had motivation to study. I had motivation to learn more and how much deeper knowledge I could gain from this course. So it went well. I went through uni quite well. As the years went on, I think it became more specific. The subjects in the course became physio specific, and they start teaching you how the body moves, or certain problems the body may encounter, and how to resolve it. And it applied all the knowledge we learnt in first year about anatomy, the body systems, and the mechanics. And I just found that super fascinating. At this point, I still hadn't seen or had a physiotherapy consult, yet I was studying this subject, so it just seemed all very fascinating still at this point.
Still just doing the subject. You've got all the theory, but you haven't seen the practicals yet.
Yeah, exactly right. So we were given practicums or like placements, and I started to get a hang of what physio is like from my exposure there as a physiotherapist, which I thought was cool. I was able to help a fair few people as a student on placement, and they gave brilliant feedback. They felt better, they felt improved, felt stronger. And that was just like from the little bits of work I did as a physio student. At the same time, if we go back a bit, when I left high school was when I first started training. I hit the gym, started applying some of the knowledge I had learned from the internet, from physio, just trying to combine everything and apply it to training. Didn't really know what I was doing, just went at it, lifted, progressively overloaded. Technique might have been off, might have missed a few things in terms of strength and conditioning. Didn't really build a good foundation. And what happened was over time, I started stacking on stress on my joints. on my muscles, starting to get very stiff, and then eventually started to get injured bit by bit. Things were painful, and bit by bit things started breaking. At this point, I think it was like I tried to apply what I learned in uni to help rehabilitate myself. It worked to a certain point, in the sense that it was self-diagnosed, didn't really know what the actual problem was, didn't do a proper assessment, didn't know how to do a proper assessment on myself.
Mhm.
So we tried to learn, trial and error, and some of the rehab worked, some of it didn't. But over time, we'd get different injuries every time. Kept racking on the injuries, or kept racking on the pain, and learning more about myself. Over time, eventually got to a point where I did need maybe a third party to have a look at me. And that's when I really felt like a recipient of physiotherapy services. And that's when I really appreciated what the service does. And I think that's what drove me to really want to do this profession.